that seems to be an early trend for you guys. I know that's a staple of what you want from your program, but just how satisfying is it to kind of get the season off this way?
Yeah, it's something you can't take for granted. You know, it's what you want in the recruiting world, is finding somebody with a competitive spirit that, you know, embrace the physicality of the game and play hard. And, you know, and play to win. You know, that's a hard thing. You know, those are some pillars of what everybody talks about, but you know, we have a good young group that's kind of finding its way, and the fact that what kind of separates yourself is normally some 50-50 balls, rebounds, just that extra effort. And I think you saw that tonight from multiple people, you know, making some effort plays, getting to some timeouts, in both those situations where we ended up scoring, and but it was more than one. You know, Brady's play was huge. Just for an extra possession. You know, you're just trying to help yourself, give your team that extra possession to, you know, try to win. We were trying to push the game out. We never could really get, you know, that distance, but a lot of times you're not going to get that distance for quality teams.
Your team did a really good job of putting up points when Edey went to the bench. How were they able to do that on offense?
Yeah, well, we have, you know, I think some matchups. Our issue's been so far with the guys that come off the bench. We really have a lot of starters that come off the bench. Is their inability to get into the flow of the game because their minutes are short. You know, I think that's when you find people that can get into the flow of the game quick and knock down shots or get a quick post up. That's huge. Like tonight, you know, Trey Kaufman got a couple post ups, but he also hit a three. You know, that's huge. People don't understand how hard that is for somebody. You know, his whole life he's started and played the whole game. You know, so you get into college, you adjust, you redshirt, you sit out. Now you come into a neutral site and you're able to do that. So, you know, Brandon Newman is a guy that can make shots. Caleb First hasn't gotten going yet, but he's a guy, you know, that can make shots. And so when you look at the people that come off the bench, was David Jenkins has scored 1,800 points, but now it's hard for him. You know, he makes both of the shots that he takes today, but it's hard. You know, it's hard to adjust when your minutes are cut or you're subbing in and out. But our guys have all kept a great attitude. You just got to run things for them and get them in their sweet spots, you know, and then just kind of talk them through, you know, being aggressive. Because a lot of times coaches will talk about, you know, getting to the game, getting to the flow of the game. Well, when you're playing, you know, anywhere from 13 to 18 minutes, you know, your opportunities are your opportunities. But make sure you're taking, you know, shots in rhythm and make sure you're taking shots in your practice.
You mentioned not being able to separate. I know there's going to be a process with this team, but the turnovers are kind of what kept you from doing that.
Correct.
Any common denominator from what you saw real time?
You know,
or is that just part of the process?
Well, I think you got to give West Virginia credit. Like, you know, we turned the ball over 18 times. They average. That's what they average, forcing their opponents. So you got to first of all give them credit with their size and their length and their ability to play hard. You know, we had a couple mental errors, especially in the second half, just kind of holding the basketball, and they just took it from us a couple times. You know, they picked our pocket a couple times. And we recovered like 3 of them. So we could have 3 more turnovers. You know, it was our doing. But no, it's just random. Obviously, Zach had the most, was 6. You know, he has to collect himself and then take his time. And he got a little frustrated there in the second half. And, you know, that'll happen. But just, you know, kind of an assortment of turnovers that we just have to learn from.
Spent the first 10 minutes there. Zach's name hadn't come up until you said it, but just how he got you off to the good start, how you guys got off to that 9-0 lead.
Yeah, I thought he had an average game, you know. He's a really good player. He's one of the best players in the country. When you get 24 and 12 and you have an average game, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But he did. Like, that's just, I mean, he had 6 turnovers. You know, he made his free throws. That's cool. That's good. You know, I think that builds his confidence. He's really worked hard on his free throws. You know, defensively, he's better. You can see from a rebounding standpoint, he's a very good rebounder. There's 2 or 3 more in there he probably could have had. You know, he's a weapon. You know, they can't put somebody in practice, you know, that's like him. I think everybody in the country would agree with that. It's like the team that we're getting ready to play, Drew Timme. Like, you know, you're not going to be able to go against someone like Drew Timme, you know, in your practice. And there's just one of those guys in college basketball. There's only one Zach Edey. Doesn't mean they can't be stopped, because they can. Everybody can. But it's really hard. Those guys are all special, and you know, when you get with someone like that who's, you know, in his 3rd year of college basketball, and he's in his 6th year of organized basketball, you know, you're always learning, even if you've played your whole life. You know, he's still learning. You know, like today, there's a lot of learning scenarios that he can go back and look at and become a better player because of it.
Coach, it's still only November, but being in this type of environment, neutral site, when you're playing multiple games in a matter of just a weekend, the season comes down to conference tournaments, March Madness, where you're playing so many games in such a short amount of time. With a pretty young, pretty new group, what does this, even those 3 months away from those winter advance type games, what does this type of tournament do with this caliber of competition do for your program moving forward?
Yeah, well, let you know where you are. That's why you play good people. You want to build your resume, but you also want to improve. And we try to play a tough schedule. Try to get on the road some, try to get on neutral courts. Obviously, the neutral court is more important in my opinion, just because you're going to get into the NCAA tournament, right? Your Big Ten tournament, your neutral court, just some of those sites, just getting into different venues really helps you. It's not quite the buzzsaw like going on the road. Those are, especially in our league, those are really really tough. But you want to keep building your resume, but also kind of keep building your resolve. Each game is a different story. You're going to have games where the ball doesn't go in. You're going to have games when it does, and and back and forth. Like sometimes you get breaks, sometimes you don't get breaks, and then you learn to play through it. And you learn just to get that resolve, that resiliency as a team, and that's what's cool about it. That's we really try to harden our program to get guys and keep guys and develop them. And now, if you can do that, and you have older guys, they become like coaches on your team. Now with all the new rules, it's like trading baseball cards. It's like there's a lot of coaches out there introducing themselves to the people on their team, and it's hard. It's hard. Doesn't mean you don't have a high talent level, but this is a team sport, and collectively, that's what we've always tried to do. Is just continue to grow each year, and if young guys come on board and they play well, great. And that's really worked for us.
All right. Thank you for your time, guys.